Tonight's a little different. I'm doing a last-minute Clemson call-in show, and I'm telling you, Frank Costanza, the airing of the grievances, this is the chance for you to hop on here and chat with me, and we can talk about Clemson football. We can talk about college football as a whole. We have two coaches that were fired today. Brent Pry up at Virginia Tech just lost his job. UCLA, former incredible UCLA running back, former Carolina Panther running back, got them to their first Super Bowl. Deshaun Foster, coaching at UCLA. They fire him after an 0-3 start. We could talk about that. We could talk about how in the Notre Dame game last night, a game that came down to 1 point, there is a video going around of one of their defensive linemen absolutely getting tackled. And there was no call. It was out in the open. It was ridiculous. We can talk about that. I'm putting my ears in so I can hear you if you come on the show. Here's the thing that I'm going to tell you here. I have to give you some guidelines, okay? First off, no profanity, no foul talk. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. You can cuss, rant, rave in so many places. This is one of the very few family-friendly places here. So I hope that if you're going to join me, that you'll respect that. If not, I'm going to have to unfortunately cut you off. So if you get mad at that, and that's because you can't abide by the rules and be respectful to other people. Next up, I'm going to ask for, and I've seen some call-in shows on YouTube, and this is one of the reasons that I kind of shy away from it. I see people sit on a call for 30 minutes, and I don't want to do that here. Let's go 2 or 3 minutes. I may have callers come on at the same time. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right. But I'm going to throw this in the I'm going to throw the link into the chat here. All right, folks. And I'm about to throw it into the live chat. In the future, if you're watching this was a live chat. And I'm going to hit this. And so listen, if you want to hop on here, the link is now in the chat section. A lot of people in Clemson are upset tonight. And I understand why. Some are overreacting, some are underreacting, some are in between. And I'm receiving a text message from Chase Henderson. Chase is asking me, it's on both channels. So I am simulcasting to my other channel right now. So I have a brand new channel, another college football podcast where I talk about college football as a whole. I just did a reaction to Vanderbilt absolutely emasculating South Carolina. I know Lenora Sellers went down. I know, and I hate that for him. I'm not a Gamecock, but the guy's a really good player. But when he dropped, any potential fight that they had went out the window. So that link is below to another college football podcast. I'm simulcasting over there. I hope you'll tell all your friends about it. You'll subscribe. Just crossed over 8,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my still very young channel here, 3 years old. And I see that somebody has joined us. Let me see if they're still there. I said this yesterday, and I'll say this again, that I'm still getting used to this software. So y'all please forgive me if I'm a little slow to hop in here. Some people will be like, you're always slow, Brian. And to you, I say, okay, yeah, probably so. Saw that someone had joined me here. I am. Let me see. If I have overlooked anyone here, Danae, I think you were in, and then I think you were gone. Are you still there? Let me see. I see Joseph coming in here, so I'm gonna bring in Joseph Sexton. Joseph, how's it going, man?
Hey, going good, Brian. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you very well. How's it going over there?
Oh, not too bad, man. Can't complain. How about you?
Well, you know what? I think my football team could be a little better right now. I yeah, yeah. I'm really more amused than anything looking at how people are responding to this. What's your thoughts on yesterday?
Uh, I mean, disappointment. I think I really got my rage and anger out in the first 2 weeks. It really couldn't be anything beyond disappointment at this point. At the absolute waste of talent that we have had, not just over this season, but over the past 5 or 6 seasons with guys like Miles Murphy and Brian Brzee, and now we've got guys like Wesco on the outside who could be utilized so much better. And it really hurts. Man, I'll tell you, back in the day, when South Carolina was on their 5 game streak, I would
Yeah,
wear, after we would lose, I would wear my Clemson jersey to school on Monday just to show, hey, I'm not here just for the good times. I'm here through it all. I'm about as far away from a fair weather fan as you can get.
sure.
But my question is, um, how much more grace do we have to give Dabo Sweeney and this staff before we really start asking the hard questions and holding people accountable?
That's a really really good question, and I don't know, and I'm not putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched my video today. I talked about we're 1-2 now. What I want to make this very clear to every person who's watching this, and for this to be a last minute Sunday night call in show, I've got a decent amount of people in here already, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
But for those of you who did not see that, I want to lead off by saying this, and I don't want Dabo fired.
Hmm.
I think that a lot of people are overreacting there, but there's also the extreme opposite of that. It's almost like, well, we had some good old days. Ah, shucks, you know, we just pull for them. And I think both of those approaches are wrong. I think that we can get somewhere in the middle. Um, Firing Dabo is an overreaction. That's ridiculous. Not asking the questions that you're asking, I'm asking, a lot of people's asking. And what's interesting to me is that when Coach Sweeney was asked this past week at his press conference on Monday, basically, have you seen any of the stuff that's happening in game happening in practice? And he goes, no. That's a
Mm,
scary thought. And
yeah.
we're constantly hearing, Joseph, this idea of we're just a few plays away, and oh, the other team's a good football team. So, you know, you and I are not in charge of strategy.
No, we are not.
We're not. I think what bothers me is that the people who are in charge of strategy, they're as puzzled of what's going on as a lot of us are. But here, that scares me. That
Yeah.
scares me that the people in
It,
charge, yeah,
yeah. It concerns me that we've had the same questions for
yeah,
5 or 6 consecutive years, and we keep getting the exact same answers from the staff and the program as a whole. And my thing is, I'm not calling for Dabo to be fired or to resign. My question was how much more do we hold off on these hard questions being asked? Because you could tell when you ask the same questions and keep getting the same answers, that means people higher up in the program are not asking the hard questions.
mhm.
And I mean, obviously, it's not up to us as people outside of the program to ask those questions. And I mean, we can't necessarily answer them, but it does need to be asked.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I always start off with the whole Dabo Swinney thing because I hear so many people that they hear words coming out of my mouth that I'm not saying.
yeah.
So I didn't answer your question. I didn't answer your question. Let me be perfectly clear here.
Hmm.
Um, we are firing a coach almost every year,
We are.
and that's taken a long time.
Mhm.
That's wasting the eligibility of players.
It is.
So for me, if I'm working at a company, I've worked at a company before that fired someone every 3 months.
Mhm.
And they were a small company, by the way.
Yeah.
And it did not feel good. They could preach all they wanted to about culture and have these little fun HR events and all that bunch of stuff. It was a bunch of trash. We knew it was a lie. It was a facade because they were firing someone every 3 months, every 4 months. Good people, by the way.
Yeah.
And so I don't see that as being good for the culture on the Clemson staff. And then next up, how long can we put up with it? I can ask the questions here on YouTube. You can ask the questions here
Yeah.
on YouTube. You can go to a forum. But I was really shocked to hear some of the questions that were kind of being asked. Maybe they were not as blunt or mean or aggressive.
Mhm.
But in that press conference, I heard some solid questions being asked, and it's just I don't know how long the coaching staff can expect. I'm talking about the staff as a whole can
Yeah.
expect us Clemson fans just to keep buying it and going, oh, there's
Yeah.
a few plays. So there are a few plays away. Guys, we've got this. We've got this. 2 years later, you're going just a few plays away. 3 years later, oh, we've just need another player. Just need a.
Yeah.
I wish we had better wide receivers.
Yeah,
We
when
do.
when the staff since those questions first started being asked, when the staff has made a collective $90 million since those questions first started being asked, and the same questions are still being asked, my patience has run very thin. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not calling for someone's job, but all I'm saying is uh, if things are not turned around soon with the talent level that we have, um, then personally I will be. Not that I have any authority, but me as a fan who pays money to streaming services or to buy tickets, I will be calling for it. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I said on the video earlier today. And hey, listen, everyone who's watching this, James, if you haven't watched it, I challenge you to get the video says it's about 52 minutes long. About 14 minutes of the latter part of the video is me just going into the comment section and talking to everyone. But I'll tell you this: here's a cheat. This is how I watch YouTube videos and any training videos as well. I speed them up, so I'll go to
yeah,
1.25 speed and get it going fast. But I would challenge you to watch that video, and here's the reason why. I break down a lot of the fan frustration and why.
yeah,
And I think the biggest thing is like look at Nebraska from 1969 to 2001. They had at least a 9-win season every year up to that point, and the vast majority
yes,
of that time was Tom Osborne running things. We see what happened to them. And so you have to fight to protect the brand. We talk about
hmm,
fighting to protect the culture. You have to fight to protect the winning culture too, because right now, Clemson's new reputation is they play a good team. They're a few plays away, but they lose.
yep,
And that is very difficult to encourage people to open up their pocketbooks and buy season tickets, travel,
hmm,
big donors open up those trust funds and drop major money into. Why would you do that? And even one of the legacy media this week wrote that someone he knows who is a donor said this, and this was after the Troy game. This is an abomination. And then
yeah,
they rattled off how much money that
yep,
the university's begging for. So anyway,
yeah.
my friend.
I'll leave you with this. I'll tell you one thing. It that will not be able to last through another loss to South Carolina.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, there will be no money incoming with another loss to South Carolina because I think that this entire fan base has remembered over the last 3 years just how intolerable South Carolina fans are when they
yeah,
finally get a W. So
yeah.
anyway, good to see you. Thanks for letting me be on, and I will go back and and watch the video that I missed this afternoon.
Yeah, watch it on 1.25 speed. Maybe it'll go a little faster
All
for you.
right. Thanks,
Joseph,
Brian.
it's always good to see you, and thank you for your questions. Thanks for being cool, and thanks for asking some hard questions. That's good. It's not hard questions for
Absolutely.
me.
Right.
It's hard question. And this is, and before you go, I want to say this to
Mhm.
everyone. On the other side of the answer to these tough questions to the staff, if it's answered right, you're going to get winning football again.
Correct.
So for anyone who's offended at this, I think you need to rethink a logical approach to it. So it's good to see you, my man.
All right. Good to see you too.
Take care.
All right.
All right, everyone. I just posted the link back into the comments section. So if you want to hop on here and talk Clemson football, if you want to talk about any games that happened yesterday, we saw Notre Dame lose by 1 point. There was a controversial no call in that game. It was a very bad hold. It was a tackle. So whether you love or hate Notre Dame, it doesn't really matter. The thing is should the officiating let that go by? Because here's my approach. If they'll do it to Notre Dame and you think it's kind of funny, they may do it to you and you're not going to think it's funny. So that's my approach there. I have some people here in the comment section. I can answer some of these questions. Again, if anybody wants to hop on here and chat with me, want to talk about any of the games. Georgia was down 21-7 to Tennessee. Tennessee looked like they were going to do something they haven't done in 8 years. And Georgia wins. A missed field goal by Tennessee with time expiring. It would have iced the game. It would have been over. Only for that same young man to come right back out there in overtime. The Tennessee had the first possession, and he hit a field goal. That was kind of the same distance. The nerves got to him. I know it has to be tough. But if you want to talk about any of this, I put the link here, and you can hop on. And by the way, if you don't want to show your face, just turn your camera off, and it can be just like a phone call. If there's any you say, hey man, I'm sitting on the toilet, I'd call him. I don't want to show him I'm sitting in here taking the dump. I mean, unless you're making well noises, all you have to do is turn your camera off, and I'll bring you right on. While I'm waiting on someone to have to go ahead and hop on here, I'm throwing the link back in the comment section. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go through and answer some of the questions here. Cheesy is nasty. Yo. Michael Forster, the players can go in the portal, which is crazy. You know, Michael Forster, one of the things that I'm concerned about is that we're going to lose some players. And I'm talking about some well-known players. I'm not talking about someone who gets second string reps. I'm not talking about someone who's kind of fell off the depth chart, and it'll be a big deal if, they leave. No, I'm talking about people like I have when I say this, I have not heard anything. This is my opinion. TJ Moore, I could see him leaving. I could see one of the running backs, Easy. I could see Easy leaving. I could see one of our tight ends leaving. I don't know why they would stay if this is going to be the new norm. I don't know. BLZZC, do you think Cade has to be too perfect in Riley's offense? I've been thinking, and a lot of our touchdown drives are like 6 minutes long, so it's hard to stay perfect like that. Cade is a very polarizing character right now. Cade is a very polarizing character right now. And I believe that Cade brings a lot to the table. I have a few people that's just joined us here. I'm going to be bringing them on maybe one at a time. Cade has a lot of talent. Cade has made some crucial mistakes this year. And a guy at his level and the NIL earnings that he makes, I'm sorry if you're going to take the money, and they are, and I don't blame them. You know, I'm a Cade fan. You have to perform. And he made some crucial mistakes yesterday. He also did very well. All right. All right. Before I get into this, and before I get on here and see who's in the chat or who I'm about to bring on, just want to remind everybody who's watching, thinking about joining me, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it civil. Even if you disagree with me, totally fine. You don't have to agree with me. That's a lost art in this country, that you can disagree with someone and shake hands and walk away. You can have a heated conversation, but you can keep it civil and respectful. And the next thing, let's try to keep it 3 to 5 minutes long, no more than that per caller. Just because I just want to get some people on here. Oh my goodness, I see who's in here. Vencat, you'll be next up, so hang on, Vencat, if you don't mind. Chase, my man.
Howdy.
You are parked out in front of Howard's Rock there, aren't you? I can tell. I can tell. You'd never know that that's a green screen ever.
Can't tell. No, the camera's high def 4K U3 whatever it is.
You know what you remind me of right now? How it's got that like that blurry thing. You remind me of the holograms on Star Wars.
Hologram.
Star Wars. Star Wars. My man, what is up? What is up?
I just got in here, so I didn't really see what anybody else had said.
They said that I'm awesome.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's why we're friends.
Flattery will get you everywhere with me, my friend.
No, I just didn't. You know, I know my biggest problem that I'm having right now is with a lot of the fan base. To be honest with you, and I think you and I talked about this yesterday. Or
Yeah.
Might have been Parker. I can't remember. You know, everybody wigging out like it's the third week of the season. It's our first ACC game. The biggest takeaway from the loss, yes, we lost, but the biggest takeaway is that Cade switched into the Cade that we were expecting. He still made mistakes. He's not perfect, but he showed that he was actually in there and not some shell of his former self. And that was my biggest takeaway from that. Our defense is fine. You know, they've done well. They've gotten exposed in some areas, but you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't talking about how good Georgia Tech actually is. They were flying around the ball. They were executing. Hayes King is that dude. And if anybody thinks otherwise, this isn't a Georgia Tech team, you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. No,
it's not.
This is a legit Georgia team with legit talent, and I think a lot of people have to readjust their mindset because of the fact that the NIL is making things a little bit more even from a talent standpoint. But play calling was way better than what it was the first two games. Glad to see Randall as being the guy that we were expecting and finally doing some toss passes, using him as a receiver out of the backfield, essentially being an incredible matchup against a linebacker or a safety. Good luck. So I think we're going to be all right. You know, I agree with you that, you know, it's frustrating that we waste eligibility. And I actually hadn't thought about that until you said that the other day. But, you know, Dabo is Dabo. He's stubborn. He's hard-headed. Do I agree with everything he does? No. Do I want anybody else coaching our team? No, I don't. And, you know, it's just one of those things where we are just not where we're expected to be, especially from the preseason hype. You know, on paper, if you look at us, we were the odds favorite to be the best team in the country. Have we shown that? No. Is it coaching? Yes. Is it lack of productivity from our star quarterback? Yes. But before we all start panicking, I think we should just let the season play out. It is what it is. We cannot do anything about it.
No, we can't.
We're not going to. We can't do anything about it. All we can do is get on here and complain and gripe. Like, just let it happen. Enjoy the fact that we are actually in the conversation about being one of the top teams in the country. Don't forget where we came from. We had an adjective. Clemsoning. We don't have that adjective anymore. Why? Because we've progressed past that. We have taken a step back, but we will be fine. We will be okay. And if we don't win at the end of the day, okay, let's try it again next year. That's the only thing we can do. So sure. I just wish that everybody would just kind of lay off all the negativity and let's just see what happens.
You and I were on the phone
the whole
during
game.
the majority, the whole game, Everybody, we were on the phone. I had him on my headset, and I told him this, and you can vouch for me. I said the play calling, and I said, folks, if you watch my reaction to the Georgia Tech game, you heard me say yesterday that quarters 2, 3, and 4 was the best play calling I've seen out of Clemson offensively in forever. And I told Chase this. I told Chase, I said, if they lose this game, there'll be no selling that. Where I'm at with Clemson football right now is I want to get excited that I saw quarters 2, 3, and 4 as they were, and they lost to a good Clemson, or they lost to a good Georgia Tech team who I believe wants it more. I believe they do want it more. Why? Brent Key has not ascended to where Dabo Swinney has been twice. And I think he wants it more. I'm not saying Dabo doesn't want it. I'm not saying the coaching staff doesn't want it. I'm saying I've met people who wanted it, and they wanted it more. And there was people who wanted it more. So my point here is I want to get excited about the offensive play calling, but I am not going to get overly excited again until every game I see that style of game, that same strategy. But what is interesting, someone told me this today, Chase, and I think you'll find this funny. I've told you about the guy I go to church with who's like bigger Clemson fans than both of us. I mean, he's just like, I think he knows where all the trees are planted and what types of trees are planted around. I mean, it's just that he's a really fun dude. I need to introduce y'all sometime. But he said, man, it's almost like they get on the comment boards and read what everybody's complaining about, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And then like the upcoming game, they turn around and do it. And it's probably not happening, but it is interesting. We all fuss that, hey, move the pocket, send a man in pre-snap motion, run some sweeps. And then they started doing it. And yes, they're moving the football. Yesterday would be way more acceptable if they would have won. But I just think that Georgia Tech wanted it more, and Brent Key can coach. I just, you know me, my person. My person.
I love Brent Key.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant. You know my personality is when I see this, I start going, oh crap. Yeah. But anyway, maybe.
Well, somebody in the comment section said, here we go. Hold on. I think it was Spider-Man. That kind of mindset kills a football team. Well, fun fact, you nor I are playing on the football team. This is our opinion. This is my opinion. This is Brian's opinion. We can have opinions. We can, and like he said, we can agree to disagree. We are going to be fine. But everybody has to remember, we're not going to get Deshaun Watson again. We're not going to get Trevor Lawrence again. Do we need to improve some of the coaching? Yes. Do we need to improve our quarterback development? 100%. But, speaking like we're team members, it's not going to go anywhere. And I have been a part of a college football team. I have played college football. So, I know exactly what it's like being on the other side of this. So, if we just at the end of these guys are still kids. Yes, they're getting paid, They're still kids. Couldn't imagine getting paid 7 figures as a 22, 3, 4-year-old. Jeez. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And I get it. And you and I have different approaches. We agree on a lot, and then there's things we just disagree on. I get where you're coming from. Folks, we can get on here, cuss, wet our pants, lose our minds, and nothing's going to change in Clemson. It's not. It is interesting when we dig in and go, these are smart guys. Why does the sideline look flat? Why are we always?
That you and I talked about was the flatness, and it seemed like the team picked that up after the second quarter or the third. Excuse me, the third series.
And here's the thing too, that all of us are here discussing this means that Clemson still matters, because what determines the pay of Dabo Swinney and the cost of tickets and whether you have a guy making millions playing quarterback for you in the college game is if the team is relevant enough for the fans to sit and do what we're doing. No one, I talked to someone who was putting together a small network of YouTubers from each team, and he told me, he said, I couldn't find anyone for Wake Forest. And I busted out laughing. I went, you know why, don't you? And he said, why? I said, because no one cares. So the reason that we're all sitting here talking and airing the grievances, as the wonderful Frank Costanza said, is because we do care. There has been a relevancy for Clemson. I think where my stomach's starting to drop is I'm afraid we're going to go back to the 8-4 days. I'm afraid, and there's nothing we can do about it. Mm-mm. But I really am of concern that we're going to go back to the 8-4 days, because if we can't win with the talent we have right now,
I agree.
What about next year? What about next year? I mean, if you're a few plays away with this roster.
And we lost the game at the end on the last play. Like, I know that's so cliche to say, but I mean, it's true. Yeah. It's true. If Cade would have been Cade, I don't think we lose to LSU. I actually think we really impose our will on LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their kicker hit the longest field goal of his career.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
with time running out, I'm shocked that there wasn't like a nervous snap infraction. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were saying that they kept practicing it yesterday. And that Joker could have hit it from 65. He hit it into the net from 55. Like, I mean, but he tricked me. Ball was curving out and he curved it back in. Great shot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. And when fans start to talk about this, it gets crazy. But I don't know if you saw my video from earlier today. I said, the people who wants Dabo fired, that's ridiculous. But there is a place in the middle to step back and ask why. Why are we always a couple of plays away? Why are we 0-3 in our season openers? Why can't we win with this talent? Why has this happened? And I think it's when you look at a guy like Brent Key, he wants it more. And I saw Damian Harris on CBS Sports said this. He said, I love Dabo, but you just basically admit that Brent Key outcoached you.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he's been admitting that the last, 2.5 games.
And I think that's where fans are irritated. And it's just like, dude, if I did that on my job and just consistently went and said, well, they'd axe me. Now, again, I don't want Coach Swinney axed, but I'm just saying, you get where I'm going with this. It's just like, anyhow. So what's going on for the rest of the evening, sir?
Oh, you're looking at it. I'm just going to watch my favorite Clemson commentator and then probably have finished my bourbon here and then go to bed.
After you turn me off, you're going to watch your favorite Clemson commentator. I'm just kidding. Oh, my goodness. The Hendersons go back a long time with me. They've been supporters. I've been to football games with them, sat on the phone, and we've moaned and groaned and about football and about life and Chase has been a friend for a while, man. I appreciate you. I really
Yeah,
do.
man, I appreciate you too, and I
Man,
appreciate everybody, all the fans. Just don't forget where we came from. Like
sure. Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I can say. Is just don't forget where we came from.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Well, man, I'm going to take the next guy up.
All
Thanks
right,
for
buddy.
calling in, bro. Thanks for calling in, brother. Wish
Buddy.
Parker would get in, but he's out at a baseball tournament for his son. He needs to get his priorities straight and get on here.
What? I told him he needed to go clean the damn attic.
Yeah, you told him. You told him it's time to get your priorities straight, son. Dadgummit, Parker.
All right,
Tell
buddy.
your kid he can wait. I see you, buddy. Tell your parents.
See you, pal.
I said, hey.
I will, man. Appreciate it.
See you, pal.
See you.
My old buddy. Venkat, thanks for hopping in here, man. Are you still there?
I'm right here.
Sorry. We were catching up, my friend. Thanks for waiting. Love the hat. How's everything going for you?
The game could have been better. Season could have been better. So yeah, this is my hat from I don't know, 2014, 15, long time ago.
Yeah.
I went to school. I was in school when CJ Spiller was a running back. So.
Ooh, that's a while back.
Yeah, that's when Dabo took over the team, I guess. Oh wait, was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. But I'm I see all the comments. I don't want Dabo gone, but I just feel we don't have the fire in us anymore. It's feels like we have excuses. Like you called it, like other people have said. It's if this is a job and you say, if I had this extra day, if I had one more day to do this or do that, we'll get there. If you got to fire Dabo, you got to pay him $60 million to fire him. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think what you just said there. Let's break down firing Dabo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't want him gone, by the way. I'm not saying just go. Yeah.
No. I get exactly. I get where you're going here. Let's talk about firing Dabo and what that would do to the university, and look no farther than firing Danny Ford.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Clemson fired Danny Ford.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming off of 2-10-2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
College football was at a totally different place.
Yep.
I think they had one more 10-win season under Ken Hatfield, who took over. Then after that, Clemson started getting beat like the redheaded stepchild in the ACC once Florida State came to – I mean, they did.
Yeah.
Then they fired Hatfield after losing in 1993, 57-0 to Florida State. Charlie Ward team won the national championship. He won the Heisman, lost 24-0, if my memory serves me correct, to Mac Brown and UNC. And the final punch in the gut and pulled their underwear over their head and shoved them on the ground was when Clemson lost to Wake Forest on homecoming.
Oh.
They said no more Hatfield. They fired him, turned around, brought in Tommy West, a guy who was one of Ford's former boys. Mm-hmm. He had coached 1 year in college football at UT Chattanooga. They were 4-6, brought him in because they wanted Ford vibes,
mm-hmm.
but they didn't want Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of firing a guy who's been ultra successful is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think where a lot of people are diving in and asking the questions is, why can't we get certain questions truly answered? And why is it that the guys who are the experts at football, why can't they fix that we're 2 or 3 plays away?
Well, I mean,
that's always the thing.
I mean, Dabo doesn't have to answer anyone, honestly. He's got work to answer to, and he shouldn't, and I don't expect him to, because that's not his job. His job is to coach the team, make sure we play well. But it's like if you've seen the last few games, it's we take a quarter or two before our offense actually kicks in. And I'm like, is that Garrett Riley's problem, or is it Dabo? Is it coaching? Is it the line coaches? What's happening with running backs? Adam never got the ball in the LSU game. Our running back never got the ball. Let players play. And then with Cade, I don't even know, is it a coaching problem? Because there's been no progression since last year. He was good towards the end of the season. He probably is going to be good towards the end of the season, but the beginning of the season is when you guys are all fresh and you have no injuries and you can play better. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't play football, so I just watch it. So I don't know what to say.
No. Yeah. No. And I want to say this. Anyone who wants to hop on here in just a few, man, Vin, am I pronouncing your name properly, Venkat?
Yeah, you got it right.
Venkat, okay.
Yep.
We're hanging out here. If you want to jump on afterwards, he waited his turn.
Yeah.
I want y'all to hop in here. Just keep it family friendly. Keep it PG. If you disagree with me, it's totally fine. We can be civil and disagree. You don't have to agree with me. But hop in there. I agree with you. The questions of why did you parade Adam Randall around as your starting running back? You send him into LSU. I met Adam Randall last week. Met him. Got a picture with he and my nephew. It was my nephew's 13th birthday. He's a massive human being.
Yeah.
Like he's a big dude. Like I saw the other running backs, and they're athletic, but he's like a big dude. And we noticed when Venkat, when they handed the ball off to him, they stopped him, and then he turned his legs and ended up in the end zone.
Yeah,
and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why not give the ball to him? Brian Kelly said afterwards, we knew they were not going to run the ball against us. Then they ran the ball against Troy with him. He had over 100 yards. He had a really good day yesterday. Had the unbelievable 3rd and 22 delayed handoff.
Oh, that was amazing. That was beautiful.
Where you ask the right question. The play calling 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 quarters, and what I'm trying to say there is quarters 2, 3, and 4 yesterday was fantastic.
That was beautiful. That was like our old team. Like that was watching Clemson beat the shit out of some other team, and we lost the game in the first quarter. We didn't lose it in the 3/4 of the game. It's the first quarter that lost us the game. Even if like every player makes mistakes, like if Cade threw an interception, that's totally fine. If we had the discipline that we had 3/4 of the game in the first quarter, we probably would have beaten the crap out of Georgia Tech. That's all it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. There was more of a. It's almost like an offense full of players.
Yeah.
In the first, especially first quarter yesterday, but we saw it throughout the LSU game, saw it in that terrible Troy game, who, by the way, yesterday they lost Goose Crowder, their starting quarterback. He got injured, but they got blistered at home by Memphis yesterday. I mean, they got the crap beat out of them, 28-7. And here a week earlier, they go into Death Valley. They're putting it on Clemson. But you see these moments, it's almost like these players have never played together before. They're unsure of the playbook. And then all of a sudden, whenever they decide to turn it on, boom, they're executing at precision.
Yep.
And that creates more confusion with us fans. That's the thing. You're sitting there going, I don't know. I've never played before, but it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments here, and it's funny. I'm like, okay, someone says it's delusional, but I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't know, man. It's like, I just want our team to win, and yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, Venkat, when I'm doing the show, notice I get my most tongue-tied when I just turn on the chat because there's just so much that's going on at one time, and I have to keep it turned off. So I'm about to have to turn it off here in just a second. Yeah, Chase Henderson just said, "Don't read the comments."
Yeah.
That don't read the comments. That's exactly right. I turn off the comments, and there's been times that I have said stuff that probably I would find out later it directly addressed somebody. I guess they thought I was rebutting him. I never saw their comment. I was just ranting and just naturally said it. So anyway,
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's fun, man. It's fun hopping on your call because like I've been watching your videos and you talk straight and you talk as things are, and I love it. And it's great.
well, dude, that means a lot to me because here's the thing. I've said this before, Venkat, and I'll say this to everyone. For everyone who's watching me, by the way, I'm simulcasting on my new channel, another college football podcast where I talk about college football as a whole. By the way, I just kind of trash talked South Carolina for losing to Vanderbilt. Yes, I know Sellers went out.
They deserve it.
But they deserve it. And here's the funny thing about it is they totally turned their head to like losing 8 very important defensive players last year. It's like, we're reloading. You're not Ohio State or Georgia. No, you're not.
They lost to Vandy. Okay, they lost to Vandy. Come on.
Vandy looked good, but they blistered them. Pavia's still running free. But anyway, if y'all like that, I hope you'll go over there and subscribe and pass it along. Venkat, I appreciate you being on here. Appreciate the kind words.
Yep.
Appreciate the thoughts. Don't be a stranger.
Yep, I'll be back. See ya.
All right. Take care, brother. All right. I got Larry coming up. Just want to remind everybody, let's try to keep it family friendly on here. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I don't care. I'm not going, at the end of the day, this is just a game, but let's just try to keep it civil. Getting here, Larry, how's it going?
Hey, Brian, first time, long time. I've watched your channel a good bit. I was thinking, I agree with you largely on the coaches, but his players kind of seem, and I hate blaming the players. I'm really disinterested, or they don't got that fire. So I'm kind of wondering, is all the talent talk that we got kind of in the off season leading up into this season, were we getting a little bit of smoke blown up our behind? I don't know, but it's frustrating. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, first off, dude, thanks for calling him. I'm on the East Coast. I'm not going to ask exactly where you're at, but are you on the West Coast?
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area.
Oh, wow. I used to work for a company out of the Bay Area. I've been there a few times. It's been a while, but it's really cool to think that someone in San Francisco, the Bay Area, is watching my channel. So I appreciate it, bro. Thanks for doing that. To answer your question, I think overall we were not getting smoke blown in our ears, up our skirt, whatever you want to say it. I think that the talent is truly there. I think that as a whole, looking at Clemson, could Clemson's football team, as it relates to players, could it be better? Sure. You could always bring in just some once in a lifetime player to play here or there, But overall, as a collective, I believe that we have the talent that was advertised to us that we had the talent. And I think that between some poor strategy here and there, maybe some poor development, maybe some guys buying into their own self instead of putting in the hard work, I think that's showing up. I think some guys read the headlines about themselves and they were sitting in the team room and they saw the TV on, and you have ESPN praising them, and you have guys like Feinbaum who was sitting there, who normally rips them a new one and makes fun of them. He was sitting there going, I think this could be the front runner for the national championship. And I just don't think that they, along with the coaches, handled it that well. I'm not going to say every player, and I'm not going to say every coach, but I'm going to say there's some of those guys, I think, who bought into the headlines about themselves and forgot you have to put in the work to nail it.
I think that's a reasonable take, and I appreciate getting your insight
sound cut
on
out,
it.
my friend.
Oh, did it?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, no, that's a reasonable take, and I appreciate your insight on it. No, that's good. I just, I think we're all just a little frustrated, and I don't know how many more times I could hear 1 or 3 plays away, but that's kind of all I got. But love the show. Keep doing what you've been doing.
Oh man, appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for hopping on here. And I want to talk about that 2 to 3 plays away. Okay. I just want to say this. I said this on my show earlier today where I talked about 1 and 2. Now what? So anybody go check that out. 39 minutes of it is me just talking about the now what. The last 13 to 14 minutes was me going through comments. So if you see it's 52 minutes long, don't crap yourself. Just turn it on 1.25 speed and play up to that 39-minute mark. Here's one of the things I said, Larry, and this is one of the things I want to remind everyone. We do have the players. We still have the brand now, but it is wearing thin on people hearing 2 and 3 plays away because we know in our own personal, professional life, if we kept peddling that, and I hate to say peddling, if we just kept replying to our management team, to the owners of the company we work for, to our clients, we're just 2 to 3 plays away, and we kept hearing it over, and it's compounding. Unfortunately, people would either stop believing in us, would stop hiring us. We would lose a lot. And I think that's the frustration with the fan base right now is what you just said, 2 to 3 plays away. And so if you and I can't figure it out with strategy, we would go, well, that's because, and I'm assuming you're not a football coach. I'm not a football coach. But when you see these guys are professional football coaches and they're making a lot of money, and by the way, I have no problem with people making a ton of money. You're sitting there going, well, if my mechanic did that to me and my mechanic said, hey, I don't know what it is, but you take it to the guy down the road, that guy down the road is going to get the business. He's going to be the one who fixes it. And I know that's a really simple analogy, but is it not right? So anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think they're probably internal discussions that we're not privy to, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to hop off. Thank you so much.
Larry, thanks for hopping on. You take care out there. Take care out there and have a good one.
You too. See you, Brian.
See you, pal. All right, that was really good. Larry, out there in the Bay Area, I'm going to tell you right now, I was sitting out in I was sitting in a restaurant yesterday. With my family. A guy walks up to me. This was after the game last night. And by the way, I had met up with some of my family, and we all had the Georgia-Tennessee game on. We were all watching on my phone, and this guy walks up to me, and he goes, hey, are you that guy who has the Clemson YouTube channel? And me being, well, just having some fun. I said, well, it's according if you want to hit that guy or not. And we talked, and it was really cool just to chat with him. But it was just cool just to see someone face to face. So to see y'all on here and chat with you, it means a lot to me. When I see someone in the Bay Area, that's just kind of funny. That is just kind of funny to see with someone in the Bay Area watching Clemson. That's this call-in show. All right, folks, listen to me. I'm going to throw the link back in here. All right. Got some people in the private chat. Hold on one second. No problem. All right. So anyway, I got a bunch of people in here right now. The hard take says TigerNet is in full meltdown. Of course they are. And he's talking about the forum. He's not talking about TigerNet. As far as the people, maybe they are. I don't know. Folks, I just threw the link in here if you want to hop on here and chat with me. And listen to me, if you don't want to be on camera, you can turn your video off, and it's almost like a phone call. So don't feel pressure. Don't feel pressure to hop on here, y'all. If you want to hop on and talk to me. While I'm waiting, I will get into the comments section in just a second. But did I or did I not tell South Carolina that losing? I'm going to do this. I got some people in here. I'm going to bring them in here in just a second. I am going to tell you who South Carolina lost defensively from their team. I've got the Phil Steele book here. I bought the Phil Steele book. This is who they lost from last year's defense. And tell me if you recognize these names. I know you're like, I don't care about the Gamecocks, but you knew the talent they had on their team. If you didn't, you should have. All right? So just hang with me, right? They lost leading tackler Nick Emanwari. They lost second leading tackler Demetrius Knight. They lost Bam Martin Scott, their third leading tackler. By the way, Emanwari had 4 interceptions. They lost Debo Williams. They lost TJ Sanders. Had 4 sacks on the season. Ever heard of him? Lost O'Donnell Fortune. He had 3 interceptions. They lost Kyle Kennard. He had 11.5 sacks last year. I guess that doesn't matter to Gamecocks. I guess they can just lose guys like that. And it's fine. They lost some pretty good players. And we were told, we got Sellers. It's like Sellers is a fantastic athlete. But here's the thing. While Sellers is a good athlete and Dylan Stewart is a good defensive lineman, you can't replace all of that unless you're someone like Georgia or Ohio State. Even at this place, Clemson's not in the place to replace all of that talent. And we're going to find out the hard way next year. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I am saying this. For the coaches and the players who are coming out going, we're just a few plays away. If you're a few plays away with this year and you can't correct it, next year you'll be about 6 or 7 plays, 10 plays away. So I'm going to get into the comment section. Got Trey coming in here. Everybody, and Trey, I'm just throwing this out there. Just remind everyone before I bring Trey on. Everybody, let's try to keep it family friendly. And if you disagree, that's totally fine with me. Let's just keep it civil, okay? At the end of the day, this is just a game. I know I get all worked up. I know I get my voice up here to where it sounds like a weed eater. I start going, it's like his tongue is swelling. Quick, put a billfold in his mouth. No, I'm just saying, y'all. Let's just try to keep it civil. Okay, I'm bringing in Trey. Trey, thanks for hopping on with me, man.
What's up, man?
Dude, I think I think you're the one that I offered to sit in and play the bass for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How's it going, brother?
Good. Actually, I played at Hall's Chop House tonight, so I just got finished.
Really?
Yeah, I just got home.
That's a good place, man. How'd it go?
Yeah. Good, man. I'm there every Sunday. So I do music for a living, so that's what I do.
That is good. I bet you we know some of the same people.
Probably. I live in Greenville, so.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to connect. We'll have to connect, and I guarantee you we know some of the same people. Probably play with some of the same people.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Don't you play music too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, here's something a lot of people don't know about this. This corner that I'm in, I have to clean it out to put my little setup here.
That's awesome.
I have my Focusrite over here. I have my studio. This is actually a Rhodes NT1A, but all of my guitars and basses sit in this corner. I have my bass amps. I have my Ampeg sitting right here.
Yeah.
I've got crap galore over here. So yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got going on in here. I got my Manly, and I got it's a little dirty in here right now because I'm also an avid golf. I'm an avid golfer too, so I've been doing music and playing a lot of golf. So, and then in between losing my voice at Clemson games, so I can't sing the next day. So.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Well, you must have lost your voice yesterday.
The LSU game, I was there with my dad. I played at a tailgate for 4 hours before, and then I go into the game, and I'm just like screaming. My family's been in IPTAY for 65, 70 years, and I just took over. And I had to cancel. I was supposed to play at Halls the next day, and then I had to fill for somebody at Halls that next Tuesday, and I had to cancel both those gigs, and I had to take like 5 days off because I lost my voice. So I learned my lesson.
God.
I learned my lesson.
Oh my God. Good
But
grief.
okay, so I was talking to me and my dad, like I call him every day. He's my best friend, and we talk every day about Clemson football, and I call into the Road Rage, Walt Deptula, all that.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
I mean, it's just who we are. Like it's even the small things, like one little clip or one little something we see on Tiger Net. Okay, I call my dad, talk to him about it. But so my biggest question to you, and maybe you will understand this, coming from a guy, I played basketball at Erskine, so
okay.
and I graduated from there, and I was a scholarship player, and I was also a quarterback at Seneca High School.
Really?
Throughout my time playing sports, right? Every single year, and we're talking Erskine, we're talking high school, I got better. How can you go to Clemson? Why is it a reoccurring theme that these players, these 5-star players, consistently come into arguably one of the best football facilities with the best weight room, with the best nutrition? I mean, everything that they have at that facility. What is going on with our player development at Clemson University? Because how many 5-stars do we have to see bust at Clemson? It's just a reoccurring theme. And then if you really think about it, you look at Deshaun and you look at Trevor, and obviously when they came in, they were generational talents, right?
They really were.
But can you really say that they got that much better throughout their time at Clemson? Because if you look at Deshaun's numbers, his senior year, he actually had the most turnovers of his career. So I just want to know what you think about player development at Clemson.
Hang on, because this is a tough subject, and I'm readjusting my mic and everything and how I'm sitting, because it made me look like an old person sitting here. like the osteoporosis was making me smaller. And by the way, I saw Big John sitting in here. Big John, I hope you hop back in, because you'd be next, my friend. Deshaun's numbers in his third year at Clemson was there were a lot more interceptions.
Yep.
There was a lot more interceptions. But the thing about that year, he did win the national championship. So we can end with that. Yep. That was an ugly season. 2015, if you go and look at the scores of the games and then look at who we played.
Yep.
I mean, we were playing Lamar Jackson in Louisville. We were playing a really good Notre Dame team in a hurricane. Yep. We were and only lost that game to Alabama, and where Saban's having to kick an onside because he knows what's coming for him. Okay. Yep. The very next year, I think they had more film on Deshaun, and maybe I'm wrong, Trey. It wouldn't be the first time. You can guess some of my family. But yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm ruining a streak here. but I do agree that his numbers, they were worse. All you have to do is look, but they won the national championship.
Yep.
To me, the telltale is Trevor.
Yep.
Trevor never progressed.
He didn't. And look at him at Jacksonville. I mean, I hate to say it. I know he's at Jacksonville. Yeah. But
well, here's the thing too, Trey, and I've had in really good conversations with friends of mine who, we'll spitball stuff. We'll push back on one another, but it's always, it's just in fun and just offer ideas, because at the end of the day, I just want to be right. I don't want to be prideful. I just want to be right. That's all I really want.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So if I'm wrong,
you and my wife.
wrong. If I'm wrong, but I realize this answer over here will make me right, as much as my pride may kick me in the head, I'm going to do my very best to gravitate to what is true and what is right. With that said, I truly believe that Trevor didn't get any better.
Yep.
And I truly believe that and this is where I was going, then my mind went blank. had people ask me the question, well, hold on, who in the college game would be able to develop Trevor? And that's a good question. But would the NFL not develop him? So if you have something that is rare, you can't treat it common.
Yep.
If you have something that is uncommon, you can't treat it common. So what would you do? You'd find the biggest NFL guru, the quarterback whisperer, and you would have brought them into Clemson, South Carolina. And that would be a way of looking at Trevor and going, your development is worth it.
Yep.
And we just didn't see that there. We saw wide receivers. They were kind of a bust. And I'll even say this, Wesco has had a good season, but we've saw Wesco drop some passes this year. It doesn't make sense. TJ Moore. Now, TJ Moore almost died against Troy because
he did. That was Cade put him in a bad spot. I'm just gonna say it outright. It was a late throw, and it was very dangerous.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. And Cade, let's look at Cade. Cade's the most, if you watch my channel, and I know you do, he, in my opinion, is the most ill-prepared quarterback by the Clemson staff.
I agree.
Since day one. And here's what's sad. As you work behind an offensive line, especially in his freshman year, or his sophomore year, excuse me, you work behind an offensive line where you snap the ball and you have to scream, taking off running for your life, you're going to pick up terrible habits. You're going to stare down receivers. You're going to not get your feet set in the pocket. And it's, that's where I'm at with Cade too. Because I think Cade, one minute Cade will look like a genius, and the next minute he's scared. And that's what Chase was talking about earlier. It was like once he got hit really good yesterday, it was like it knocked him into his senses, and he was fine.
Yeah. So maybe you'll agree with me. Like, we have a quarterback that he's had good moments. I'm not gonna sit here and say he just played terrible, because he hasn't. He's had some really good plays. But you're sitting here coming off of 2 games where you're like, Cade has to get better. He has to make better decisions. So second down on the 5 or 6 yard line, why are you making Cade do a 3-read RPO instead of just giving the ball to your 235-pound running back?
Your guess is as good as mine.
And see, that's the part of me that sometimes I wonder, the like the Wes Goodwins of the league, and the Rileys, like, sometimes do these guys they try to overanalyze and try to be like these mad scientists, and they try to be so smart that they just forget about the basics of winning a football game.
Yeah.
I
think, and I said this about Wes, if you take Wes to a dry erase board, hand him a black marker,
genius.
That guy is going to blow our minds, and you would feel like a dummy.
Idiot. Yeah, you feel dumb.
An idiot.
Yep.
Questioning anything. It's like, who am I, a peon?
Yeah.
But folks, I'm going to tell you this, and maybe this is me being early 40s, having to live some life, having to realize that just because someone is really smart, you still have to look at the end result. Yep. And if the end result is not there, all the drawing and the explaining in the world, it's not going to cut it. And so
like Dabo said in the post, he was like, when he was up, he said, Cade made a bad read. Should have given it. Why are you making him read it in that situation? Why are you making him read? And I know RPOs and zones, and I know that there's a lot on the quarterback, and I understand that because I did play quarterback. But there's just sometimes where the game's close. You have to get it. You have to get a touchdown, man. Like, make it easy on the guy. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Because then guess what? Guess who's going to take all the blame for it? Cade.
Yeah.
And I'm just so tired of seeing all this complicated play calling when obviously the guy can't handle it. Because this isn't the first time we've heard Cade make a bad read and Dabo have to explain in post game that he made the wrong read.
I'll ask you this, Trey.
Yep.
Did Brent Key ask Haynes King to do something that was out of his realm, or did he set him up for success to beat Clemson yesterday?
Set him up for success, and that was exactly where I'm going with this whole thing. Is when are we going to stop trying to get these kids that we recruit to play the Clemson scheme, and when are we going to start adapting our scheme to the players that we recruit? Because I feel like DJ could not run the same offense as Trevor and Deshaun. He was not that same kind of quarterback, but you saw the same play calls and you saw the same thing. They were trying to make DJ into Trevor and Deshaun. Cade obviously is not the same skill set as those guys either. I don't understand why at that level you're making that much money. You have all this talent. Why is it so hard to look at your roster and just take a step back and say, hey, let's put these guys in a position. Look at Florida State. Look at Florida State. Tommy Castellanos at Boston College couldn't do anything against Clemson. Couldn't do anything against Clemson. But guess what? You give him Gus Malzahn, and you let him work with him. I mean, they're still unloading their cardboard boxes in their dorms. They haven't been in Florida State that long.
Yes.
They haven't even unpacked. And Gus Malzahn has that offense looking like 2012 Chad Morris at Clemson.
And everybody thought, and everybody, I know that we've got some people next up. I'm coming right to you. Thank you for your patience. I am a guy who believes that strategy is supposed to support the goal. Yep. The goal doesn't become the strategy.
Yep.
And a lot of guys don't operate that way.
Yeah.
They don't operate that way. And that there's a lot of people who thought after that Florida State game that Alabama was just that bad.
They look pretty good against Wisconsin.
And I think the scary part for us Clemson fans is that I believe it's November the 10th. We're going to find out probably how good Florida State really is. And we're going to be sitting there going, hold on, this was a 2-10 team from last year. And they got a bunch of new coaches. They got a bunch of players who probably still doesn't have the boxes unloaded. And they're beating us. How the crap did that? How did that crap? They don't even have time to, they probably don't even know each other's names that well. I mean, really.
Yeah,
they don't, they're probably hitting on the same girls, not knowing that's so-and-so's girl that you're hitting on. Not to say that even matters, but in that world. But anyway, well, man, thanks for hopping on here. We'll have to connect sometime, pal.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I appreciate it. You take care of yourself. Everybody go check out Trey Stevens' music.
All right. See y'all.
John Seton has been waiting, and I'm pulling him in. Me and John, Big John here, and I got Grim pictures after that. And Steve, I know it's been a wait, but if you'll hang on. John Seton, before I bring you on, I just want to tell you this. I have saw your name. I've read your incredible comments, but to see you face to face, I may call my mom and tell her put this in the baby book. So here we go. Big John Seton, how's it going, man? I can't hear you. You said give you 2 minutes? Give you 2 minutes. Here's what I would do. Take the nearest hard option. Here, option. Yes. You hit the button.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
It?
I got it. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great. You are the only 7-star, maybe 8-star podcaster in the history of podcasting. You are the man. I have found a place in my bonus room. My bonus room up here. I went to the living room and the dining room and the den. I couldn't find a place. Now I've found a place where I can cast forever. The old man talking to the young man. Outstanding.
Oh, I will take being called a young man right now because I just feel like just not young anymore. But hey, I'll take it, John. Thanks for hopping on. Say what? What'd you say?
Okay, I said that's not a halo, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Light.
It really does. It looks like an angelic being is calling into the show. So, Big John, what's on your mind, brother?
Man, I am as frustrated as anybody can be because, like everybody else, we buy the media hype, and it seems like year after year, Dabo sets up his team to play terribly on the first game, then get a cupcake or two, and then they improve throughout the season. And at the end of the year, they're playing their best ball. Does he have the formula wrong? Shouldn't he be setting this team up to play great at the start of the year so that they can build momentum? I just think understand what the thought process is, and maybe you can help us.
I can't figure it out myself, John. I can't, because here let's get some things out of the way. And Chase came on here. Chase was talking about, there's nothing that we can do, and that's true. We're just all here talking, speculating. But it blows me away that year after year now, we open up a season with a loss, and I don't care who it's to. I don't care if we're favored. I don't care if we have the talent. I don't care where the game is at. I mean, it just hit me. The past 3 years, we were Duke. We lost away. We lost to. Go ahead. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm getting you faded in and out again, so I'm going to leave and go to YouTube and listen line. I just want to let you know that I really greatly appreciate you. See you later.
Man, you're so kind. You mean a lot to me, and y'all all mean a lot to me. I appreciate all the kind words, John. Big John said, appreciate you hopping in here. I've met some really cool people on here. Just me, I'm just running my mouth about my favorite football team that I grew up right outside of the stadium. I mean, literally, I took my mom out for her birthday the other night, and we were right outside the stadium. I could see it out in the parking lot. I was like, my God, that's how Clemson I am. That's how much I love the school. I love the football team. Yeah, to answer his question, let's restate his question. They play bad at the beginning of the season. They play some cupcakes, and then they start getting better as the season goes on. Big John asked a very good question. Does Dabo have the formula backwards? Why is it that every other big team in America, for the most part, can know that the first few games of the year, they are going to do what they're doing? They're going to play a big game, or they're going to play a few cupcakes and blah, 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 blah. And they're okay. But Clemson just can't do that. That's a good question, Big John. I would love to know the troubleshooting process at this point, because you opened up at Duke, you lost. You opened up on a neutral site against Georgia, you lost. You just opened up at home at night when you're almost guaranteed to win with the most experienced roster in America, you lost. You go into game 3, quarters 2, 3, and 4 was the best play calling I've seen in a while for Clemson. I didn't say it was the best play calling I've ever seen in my life, y'all. Don't hear the words I'm not saying. Hear the words I am saying. You still lost, unfortunately. Georgia Tech's a good team. I don't know. Here's what I do know. It's kind of like I was talking about with Trey Stevens there. You can explain it to me, and you can tell me your process. What is the end result? This was not the end result of 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Nope. At all. Dabo is a smart man. I wonder what is going on behind closed doors. Someone bringing this to his attention. Something ain't right, Coach. Well, what is that something? I don't know, but we're 0-3 in home openers, or in season openers now. Hey, Coach, we're losing to all the good teams we play. We play a good team, we're about guaranteed a loss. People's not taking us serious anymore. I don't know. It's a heck of a question. I'm going to get back in here. Everybody who's hung on. Grim Pictures about to bring you on. Just want to tell everybody, let's keep it family friendly. Let's try to keep it family friendly. Grim Pictures, are you in here, my friend? The hard take. There he is. How's it going, man?
I was about to say it's Tyler from Spartanburg, but I don't want to get too wild with it. I think that your last caller, the Steve something music. Can you say his name again? What was
Trey Stevens?
Trey Stevens music? Yeah. I think he brought up some pretty good points there, and I think I'd been thinking about that, and I remember you remember the year when Ohio State didn't have to play but like 6 games, and they got to go play Clemson in the playoffs, right?
Hmm.
The COVID year.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so they made the playoffs without playing hardly any games at all. That year, their defensive coordinator broke the quote unquote Clemson offense. Right after that, Clemson has struggled ever since because every team has had the answer to that playbook. I've seen it, and I think another thing you also just mentioned was I think that we lost another opening game before that with wasn't it the Mayo with Georgia with DJ, you know, seeing Ghost forever, like that game. Isn't that another first game loss?
That would be 4 out of 5. So we've actually lost, and I had to go back in the old memory here. In fact, I'm going to get my trusty Phil Steele book here to prove. I want to say we've lost our last 4 out of 5 season openers. 4 years ago, I say 4 years ago, in 2022, we opened up with Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and we beat the crap out of them. Cade was a true freshman. The year before that is when we lost to Georgia in Charlotte 10-3. It was a pick six. That led off things. So Clemson fans, that's something that the hard takes bringing up here. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 2021 we lost to Georgia. We beat Tech in 2022. We lost at Duke in 23. Lost last year to Georgia. We lost this year to LSU at home at night in Death Valley, which used to be sacrilege, and now it's probably now becoming the norm.
Well, what game was that right before that? What game was that right before that Georgia opener where Clemson offense died? It's the loss to Ohio State in the COVID year.
I think so, and they beat the crap out of Clemson. I mean, they beat them, pistol whipped them.
That defensive coordinator broke the Clemson offense, quote unquote, and Dabo has never changed it, never adjusted it. They took away the window dressing that used to help disguise us running the same plays over and over. So there's no more real motions. They're more just like shifts. And to be quite honest with you, Cade is seeing ghosts. He really is. He's afraid to go through progressions because, let's be honest, number 50 and number 55 on the left side of the line literally can't block anybody.
Right.
And I think there's a couple of injuries there, but just to be quite honest about it, I've been looking at this team. I've been seeing their social media. One of my college teammates at Clemson, he's on the strength staff now, and I kind of see a little bit more than most people would. I don't really let him know I ever go on stuff like this and talk or whatever, because probably would block me or whatever. But you know, what I've seen is I've seen a bunch of players walking around in business suits, wearing a bunch of bling, a bunch of garbage. There's never a mention of the standards of like win the opener, win the conference, win the state, and then win your last game. You never hear that anymore. You never hear best as the standard. And to be quite honest with you, the ante should be upped even more because these guys are no longer, well, in my mind, they're no longer protected by being children that are of an amateur status. Once they started getting paid, I felt they became grown up enough to be criticized. The same way as I feel Dabo Sweeney should definitely be criticized by what I say is turning Clemson into a Ivy League Bible college. We got those grades, the retention, and we have baptism, but he's not Jesus. He's not a priest, And he's a good guy, but his job description is to win football games and bring in revenue to Clemson. I think he still can do that, but I think that when you're recruiting the Clemson guy, it doesn't mean that every guy that plays at every other teams in the country are not good guys. I think that maybe they shouldn't already have to be ready made, and maybe you can make them a better man and bring them in because they might have had an obstacle and had to change schools or something like that. So I don't see that having to go straight from high school players and self-inflicting yourself with kind of an NCAA death penalty by not taking any, real portal players in the 2 or 3 years. They were all just like, legacy guys that came from like my coach's grandson from Alabama who's going to never even see the field and hold a clipboard. But by God, I'm glad he's here. And if you actually look at the coaching staff and go down it and everything on it, all you see is guys that didn't make it in the league or Dabo's sons or their family members, their wife's family members. It's really absolutely insane. And I'll shut up.
Oh no,
But
no. Here's the thing. I agree. I agree with a lot of the things you said. There's a few things I'm kind of, yeah. I think let's talk about the things I agree on. The coaching staff at Clemson, South Carolina should be better. And a couple of years ago, I was told by someone, and I have two more people up, and I'm going to cut it off after that. I got Steve, then I've got Travis, so I'm going to cut it at that because it's getting late, and I've got to get up in the morning. I'm quite sure all of y'all. Hey, by the way, there's a bunch of you in here. Y'all stuck around for a while. I appreciate it. If you hadn't subscribed, I hope you will. It's free. Did you hear that? Free. Inflation doesn't even affect free. So if you'll do that. Also, I am simulcasting on my new channel, another college football podcast. The link is below. I'm asking you, go over there and subscribe and pass it along to all your buddies who loves talking about college football as a whole. Before I did this live stream, I just trash talked South Carolina about losing to Vanderbilt so bad. So if you want to see that, it's only like a 5-minute video. It's kind of funny. Go check that out and pass along. All right, coming back to you. Then we're going to get up to Steve. I was told a couple of years ago, you make it sound so easy, Brian, that Dabo Swinney could hire anybody he wants to. Well, guess what he did? He called up Matt Luke. Matt Luke's in semi-retirement after winning a national championship at Georgia. He goes, yep, I'd love to come to Clemson. What's he do after the end of this past season? Calls up Tom Allen, a guy who was just a few plays away. They're not too far from going to the national championship. Guess what he said? Yep, I'll come to Clemson. Sounds like people still want to come to Clemson to me. So my question is, why do you not have a Matt Luke at every position on this football team? Because you can. And where Clemson is at this vulnerable place, Clemson's at a very vulnerable place right now to where you're either going to tilt and backslide, or you're going to tip forward and go back to beating good football teams, which you can't do now. So the next thing, let's talk about this. Let's talk about having good influence on people. We need to have good influence. He needs to. We don't want this place to turn into a penitentiary where guys are just getting in trouble all the time. They're smacking their girlfriends around. They're running 145 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone, and then shocked that they would ever get pulled over and prosecuted. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. We need to have morals. I'm a Christian. I love good Christian morals. At the same time, I think where you and a lot of people become weary when they start hearing about graduation rate and stuff like that, it's almost like a pivot from, well, hold on, we're a few plays away, and we're always a few plays away. So let's talk about graduation rate. And
well, it was 10 win seasons. Remember, there was 10 win seasons, and now then all of a sudden that one there. Then it had to go. It's going on down the line. So that's what you're talking about, that backsliding.
Yeah. So it's fans, and I said this on my video I did today called 1 and 2. Now what? Y'all go check it out. I think it answers a lot of things more in depth than what I'm doing now as I'm passing and talking to the guys. But I'll say this really, really quick. before I get to Steve and Travis, and I'm going to speed up here. And that is, us fans, we have normal jobs and we have normal roles that we have to fulfill. You may own your own business. You have to keep the main thing, because the moment that you look at the company that you work for and you start telling them about secondary things that you do on your job and that you're successful at in place of the main thing you were hired to do, they're going to look at you and say, hey, great. I'm glad that you're not stealing from the company. Wonderful. You're showing up on time. Wonderful. You're a good teammate. But the main thing we hired you for, you're not completing. And we would be axed. Again, I'm not calling for Dabo's head. I'm just saying the common man who is listening to, we don't know what's happening. That would never fly in the real world. And I think that's why the common fan, like me, like you, we're sitting here going, so what are you going to do? Because
I
that
don't think it
question
would
is posed to
happen
us all the
anywhere
time.
else. Nobody else has this kind of like this such a. I mean, Kirby can't even do this at Georgia. Ryan Day gets crap for losing to Michigan. I mean, Dabo is the only one that's given this kind of a leash, other than what Nick was able to do. But Nick Saban would never ever have a situation like this. If his team played bad or whatever, it'd be hell to pay. But, I appreciate who Dabo is, and I'm glad that he's our coach. I don't want him to go anywhere. I just want the Dabo that was hired the night after the ball game that I was at in Winston-Salem when they lost to Wake Forest and Tommy Bowden was gone, and then Dabo was hired. That's the guy that I want back. And by the way, I think I broke your distance because I'm in Ireland right now, and it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning, and I probably need to go to bed. But I want to thank you for taking my call, and I appreciate all the things that you guys do, you Pete, and all the guys that talk
man,
for Clemson.
appreciate it.
I appreciate all y'all. So have a good night, man.
It's good talking to you. You be safe over there. Enjoy Ireland for me. Y'all be good. Next up, I got Steve and I got Travis, and after that, I got night time. So let's go to. I didn't expect to go this long. Anyone who is watching, you've never subscribed, please subscribe because it's free. It's free. Inflation doesn't affect free, so subscribe. Pass along to all your buddies. Steve, how's it going, my man? Steve, are you there? Steve. Attention, Walmart shoppers. Is there Steve in the house? Steve, are you on mute? Buddy, you've been waiting for a while. I'd hate to pass over you, and then then all of a sudden you're mad at me. Suddenly you see me at one of those hotspot convenience stores. You don't know why you pulled in there, but you did. Pretty sure they might have a little water in their gas, but it's a good price. And then you see me, and I'm over there just, perusing around some of the sodas. And then you don't like me anymore. And I just don't want that, Steve. Steve, you there? I'm about to hop off here. I'm about to go to Travis. Calling Steve one more time. Travis is celebrating. I can see him in the side room. He's celebrating. Travis, I'm also going to tell you this. I'm about to have to pee. Between being sleepy and having to pee, I don't want to rush you because you've been waiting for a while. I've been wanting to come on. And Travis, actually, hey folks, let me tell you this. Travis is on the email list along with Roger Parks and Russ Tastic and R. Molinari. If I'm saying that correctly, you know who you are. Who receives an email from me letting them know I'm about to go live. So some of you, even the Hendersons, they're like, "Hey, text us, please text us." Please text us because our notifications doesn't notify us, okay? So I'm about to get to Travis. I see Rich Huffman hopped in here. Rich, I may not be able to take you right now, my friend, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Travis been waiting for a while, and I'm going to have to pee. Brian's going to have to pee. I just went third person there. I tell you how bad. Yeah, I need to wear an adult diaper. I'm going to shut up and get into Travis. If I get Rich for just a moment, I may do that. Travis Hamrick, it's been a while, my friend. Thanks for hopping on.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. It's been a big, long-time fan of your channel, and I've sent you emails over the past 2 years, maybe.
You have the most flipping folks. This guy, I don't know if you can type that fast, but you are so in depth.
Yeah,
you should be a sports writer.
I want to be an analyst. I've thought about being an analyst for a while, but I do a lot of analysis on things. I think to address or sum up the season, it's not lost, right? I think Dabo, his head's not in the sand. He knows what's going on, but he's very candid. He's not very open about internal things happening in the program. He's not. He's very cloak and dagger on a lot of things. I think some people are going to be looking for a new job at the end of the season, and that's just the way I see it. Look what happened at Florida State. They went 2-10.
Yeah.
After almost making it to the playoff, and they were left out. They were dissed on the play. They were undefeated. They should have went to the playoff, but that didn't happen. But after a 2-10 season, Mike Norvell told everybody bye. He brought in a whole new coaching staff. Then he went and snagged 16 recruits from the portal, and they look like an unbeatable force right now. They look tough. Now, they got a challenge in Miami coming up, but if they breeze through Miami like, a tornado through wet toilet paper, it's going to be really bad when Clemson plays Florida State. It's going to be embarrassing. So I think Dabo should take – and I'm going to call it out like I see it. Mickey Kahn should not be there right now. C.J. Spiller's been eating our groceries for how long? I love C.J. Spiller as a player, right, when he was at Clemson, but that guy should be gone. He has done nothing to develop the running backs at all. They run right. They don't know how to follow their blocks. They don't know how to exploit gaps. They don't know how to do any of that. So he should be gone. Tom Allen, got to give this guy a chance, right?
Yeah.
Venables came at the end of 2012, I believe. He didn't really start making his mark until around 2014, 2015, and then he was able to go out and recruit his own guys. Now, granted, I don't think coordinators recruit anymore. They don't hit the trail anymore, but they're in communication with recruits that the position coaches are going out there to get. So I believe Tom Allen will be able to get the men he wants on the line and at linebacker for sure. And let's see, Tyler Grisham hasn't done much with the wide receivers there. You get these guys that are 4- and 5-star recruits, and they come there and they play like 1-star. Like they regress. They don't go forward. It's time to clean out the cupboards and put new groceries in there. That's exactly. So to Garrett Riley's credit, right? He wasn't able to come to Clemson and create his own playbook. He has to run the Clemson offense. And Dabo has said that repeatedly. Well, the Clemson offense, Dabo, 1948 called, they want their offensive playbook back, right? And it's so predictable. And there is no disguising. There is no motions. There's nothing. It's just vanilla football. And you're going to get beat. I don't care if you're playing Sadie Dinkins Second Baptist Church, high school, they're going to stack the box. When they know you're lining up for a run, there's no wideouts there. You just got one running back in the backfield. They know you're going to run the ball. But it's like, all you got to do is put, some big bodies right there, and you're not going anywhere. That's it. But I think the defense, to their credit, is looking better than they did the last 2 seasons. They've looked a lot. You already start to see an impact from Tom Allen. Granted, when you come in as a new coach, not only do you have to install your own philosophies, but you have to undo the old ones. And it takes a season or two. So I say give that guy a chance. I think Chris Rump was a good hire. I think Nick Eason does a good job. And Ben Boulware is the life on the sideline there. I don't think he's sitting up in the box with Tom. Hopefully not. I want Ben Boulware down there ripping helmets off and,
headbutting people.
Yeah, put headbutting people. Yeah. So that's I think the defense did well. The offense is just stale. If you could call it one word, it's stale. It's like a stale vanilla wafer. That's what it is. It's just stale. It's got mold on it. I can recall a time at around 2012 or 13, Dabo Swinney revamped that playbook. And then we started seeing success again, right? Because who is it? It was right after Chad Morris left. They did it. They revamped the playbook, and things. It's like gardening or farming. You know how you got to rotate your crop fields every 5 years? You should be doing that with your playbook every 3 years.
Right.
A class comes through, they get 3 years of installs. They graduate, move on, go to the NFL, whatever. And what should happen then is a new playbook. You got a whole new batch of recruits that you're bringing up and that you're developing. They should have their own playbook. And going back to DJU, right? Ukulele, whatever his name was, right?
Right.
They took a pro-style quarterback, which I was saying from day one, and they tried to create plays around him to make him a dual-threat quarterback. It was a failed experiment, and that was a discredit to DJ. That was a disservice.
Well, trying to get Cole Stout to play like Deshaun Watson was a grim mistake. And then you take Cole Stout, you put him in the Russell Athletic Bowl against Oklahoma with Scott and Elliott calling the plays. Guy throws for 361 and chops up Oklahoma.
Oh, he went off on Oklahoma. That's one of my favorite Clemson games. I watched it on YouTube. I watched the reruns sometimes. But, it's like you go back to it and you look. I can tell what play they're going to run every time they line up. And it always seems like run up the middle between the tackles, bubble screen, punt. You're not going to win any game that way. You're not going to win any games that way. And it's just, I don't know what Dabo doesn't see about that. He's like the Clemson offense. The Clemson offense, Frank Howard drew up that playbook. Throw it in the trash.
Well, I will ask you this. For me, well, I'll make the statement. You've probably heard me say this already, Travis, because I know you watch all the videos and you're very active. So this is probably nothing you've heard. Yesterday, I think quarters 2, 3, and 4, the offensive play calling was pretty good. It wasn't the best ever, but it was pretty good. Probably the best we had seen all season consistently. What do you think is happening there? I mean, who's calling what? Why are they calling it? What are you thinking?
What I saw from the Georgia Tech game, quarters 2, 3, and 4. I think when they get to a point where they trust a quarterback and they trust a wide receiver. By the way, there's too many drop passes.
Yeah,
that's coachable.
And Wesco dropping that pass out there. And I love a lot of our guys. I mean,
Moore has dropped more than him. Moore has dropped more than Wesco though. And then they targeted Cole Turner twice. He's a fast. He was behind defenders. Tyler Brown's not getting targeted at all, and he's wide open taking naps in the middle of the field. Like, wake me up, and they decided to throw the ball to me. I think Cade was overhyped. I think the moment is too big for him to be the starting guy, the leader.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and flush this season down the toilet, man, because I don't think you can fix 3 years of bad habits.
But I see, this is where the things I'd go back to one of your first statements you were talking about just saying, I better get a little closer so it doesn't sound like I'm talking down a hall. But I think I go back to my statement that I believe that Cade was the most ill-prepared quarterback by our coaching staff. And when you see him miss passes, when you see him lock in on a guy, those are bad habits that someone was paid a lot of money to work out of him. And they didn't. And now I'm having people asking me, Travis, hey, do we go ahead and start working in Vizina because of next season? And I'm sitting there going, are you going to teach him the same thing? Are you going to give him the same playbook? Are you going to because there's just so much nuance moving around this. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. I'm thinking that whenever they go to I think Garrett Riley's contract's up this year, right?
I don't know.
January. I believe it ends in January. I believe that Garrett Riley should be like, Coach Sweeney, if I'm going to have any success here, I need to draft a playbook that works. I don't see Dabo Sweeney as being the football dictator, right? like where if you disagree with him, he just fires you. I think he's a reasonable person. I think he could see what's happening here, right? But yeah, you're right. Cade didn't have a good shot here. It was a discredit to him, and he wanted to transfer at one point, and they talked him out of it. And you know, what kind of impact is that going to have on players moving forward? He trusted them. He trusted the system, and it failed him.
That as a father who I'm very much what people would call a realist, semi-pessimist, and I'm not. If you're around me in life, I'm not Debbie Downer. I just want to make that very clear. But you know, I tell my boys things are not going to work out for you all the time, and you're going to grow. You know, you're going to have to build character. But I also teach my boys, you know, the Bible tells us to use wisdom.
Yeah,
you know,
you got to be judicious in whatever you do, and especially if you have a leadership position. The one thing that I noticed about Coach Sweeney when he got hired on, the first thing he did was fire one of his best friends. Why can't we get that Coach Sweeney back?
Yeah,
come in and kick butt and take names. Don't shoot your cabbage twice, and if you start failing as a coach, it's goodbye. There's the door.
I think that you talked about it, and you know me, I don't like to call for people to be fired. I hate it. I don't want to. Here's what I will say, and I'm going to make a blanket statement to everyone. There are some guys who are on the Clemson coaching staff that should have never been on that Clemson coaching staff, and we're still dealing with it today. And if best is truly the standard, they're not the coaches anymore.
I almost think that Brandon Streeter ran a better offense than Garrett Riley.
Well, I would say that if you're going to make Garrett Riley run the same thing, or there's whatever weirdness, because everybody knows it's weird. Everybody knows what's going on is weird because you don't know who's influencing the plays. 1 minute you're calling this set of plays for 3 out of 4 quarters. You're calling this set of plays in the third quarter out of nowhere. You go tempo, you score at will, then it goes away. People are not stupid. We may not be Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, but we're not stupid. You have to ask yourself, do you owe Brandon Streeter an apology? And do you owe Garrett Riley an apology? That's the question.
I think an apology is due for both of them. And the reason why I say this is because you don't pay somebody over $1 million a year to come in and run the plays that the head coach is telling you to call. What the heck do you need an offensive coordinator for then? Why don't you just call the plays?
I mean, right? Norvell just gave up a lot of his rights so Gus would come in.
Yeah. No.
And we saw how that worked. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you make a strong point there. But, you know, everybody's talking about, should we fire Dabo Sweeney? We're a long way from that because he is smart. He's just slow to move. He moves slow and deliberate. When he's making major changes in his program, he moves slow and deliberate. And most of the time it pays off in dividends. But, the thing is we have to go through the pain of the down market. Every market has, trials and peaks. And when we're on the peaks, we're all feeling good. And right now we're in the trials. And this is the first time I think Dabo has ever went through a major adversity in his program where he's had a slump that's lasted 4 years, almost 5 seasons now. But I won't call it a slump because you had 3 conference championships, 2 playoff appearances in our slump. I mean, so if we're calling that a slump, that means that Dabo created that standard and that expectation. So he can't piss and moan when people call and complain like Tyler from Spartanburg. He had every right to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the thing is that if we don't, I don't think we should go and grab 19 players from the portal this year.
Right. I don't either. I don't.
The best philosophy is to create continuity among your program by keeping players that you highly recruited players from high school. But what type of NIL are they getting offered at high school? I mean, are they getting offered any NIL from high school at Clemson?
I don't know. I will say that I think that the more money that is put into the hands of the players, no matter where they're at, in their, whether they're, and what I mean by that is whether they're a high school student or whether they're already in the program, once that money starts going into their bank accounts, the expectation level is just like it is for these coaches who are making a lot of money to coach a game. By the way, totally fine with people making a lot of money. I'm totally fine with that. But with that said, people are paid a lot of money because they're a specialist. You pay specialists a lot of money. You don't pay the common Joe around the corner a lot of money to do a common job. And I think that when it comes to the players not delivering, and when we're seeing guys who are, I mean, Georgia Tech beat us. They did more with less yesterday and beat us. You know, if Brent Key had the talent on our side that we have on our sideline, he would have ran us out of the stadium. Oh, he ran us out of the stadium. He outcoached Clemson. He outwanted Clemson. And I think, like you said, I want that Dabo Swinney back that walks in and goes, you know what? I was hired to win and to be a contender, because I remember when he corrected the Clemson community and said, hey, we got 10 wins and got an ACC championship, but I want y'all to know that's only a step in the right direction. That's not the goal. And I mean, what a baller statement. Now I feel like we've regressed back to, well, we got our 10 wins, we got our conference championship in a bad conference.
It makes no sense. Why
it doesn't.
Unless he's eyeing retirement or a move to the NFL. But I don't see that happening. Coach Swinney has another 20 years of coaching left in him. He does.
Oh, he's young. He's a young guy, 55.
He's got another, if he retires at 75, like Nick Saban, I believe, was 75 when he retired.
72, not to correct you, but 72.
Yeah.
Think about this. Okay, so at the age that Swinney is at, I think he's 55, is when Nick Saban took over Alabama.
Yeah.
When he was 55. Yeah.
And Coach Swinney's been there for a long time. But I mean, all these people calling for him to be fired, they don't realize the drought that we would go into because first of all, there's a matter of a $60 million buyout. So you're not going to have the money in your cash pile there to hire a decent coach to replace it for at least 5 to 10 years. And so you got a 5 to 10 year drought there. And then if you got to look at the other side of it, where really decent quality coaches are going to be saying they fired this man for winning too much, basically. And then whenever he had a 3-year or 4-year slump, they got rid of him.
They fired him. So who wants to go into that? Yeah.
Nobody.
And I'm going to have to go, because I'm just going to tell you I'm going to have to pee here in a second.
Yeah,
yeah. But with that said, there is, and I talked about this early on the video. I keep referencing it, and I'm telling you, if you're a serious Clemson fan, I hope you'll go watch it. I did it today. It's called 1 and 2 Now What, and it's on my channel. You can check it out. It's by the way, I hope you'll check it out. But I said this. There's two different common thoughts in the Clemson community. You have the people who's wanting Dabo fired, and then you have the people who's like, well, it was a good run, but just let him do what he does. And there's, that's it. And I said somewhere in the middle is right. We don't want him fired, but you do have to put the pressure on going, hey guys, most of all, it's out of respect for him. Coach Swinney, this is not you. Like Dabo Swinney that got to the national championship or held 2 national championships was the guy who was pounding the table going, what do you mean we're 2 plays away? What do we have to do to get those 2 plays back so we can win?
Yeah, I don't like that rhetoric either. We were just a couple of plays away. Well, newsflash, Dabo, everybody that lost this weekend was a couple of plays away.
Yeah. And Coach Swinney, I feel like we're doing him a disrespect by not looking at him and going, dude, you were like the ultimate winner and you made things happen. You did. Where is that? And he seems tired. He seemed tired to me at that practice or this post game, or not post game. It was this past Monday, the press conference.
I wouldn't say tired. I wouldn't say fatigue. I think he's frustrated because I think he sees something in the team that we don't, and they're not showing up and bringing that team to the game day whenever the game day happens.
Well, I think go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think it's frustrating to him. But, at the end of the day, they're still going to do a 30 for 30 with that guy 10, 15 years from now.
Of course.
His name is still going to go down in the Hall of Fame of coaches. he was a wide receivers coach, taking over a head coaching position and led Clemson to the top of the mountain twice.
Yep.
The guy is 181-49. That's the third winningest active coach right now in the country, with Brian Kelly being number one, I believe. And then there's one other guy. I don't even know who that is, but
maybe Kurt Ferentz out at Iowa, just because he's been there so long.
Yeah,
maybe Kurt Ferentz.
I mean, think about it. We still are a very lucky program to have a guy like Dabo, because here's the deal: you got a guy like Mike Gundy that's been at Oak State forever. He's done nothing special there, and they keep renewing his contract.
Hey, well, he's got. I mean, he just got beat 69-3 by Oregon, and had he not had, had he been any other guy, not a former Oklahoma State quarterback, he would have never. He wouldn't be the coach right now, and I'm going to leave it at that.
He would have got lynched in the parking lot. What are you talking about?
He would have got Lane Kiffin at the tarmac. But I think the frustration for me, and I hope that I can convey this to everybody who's watching. And if Coach Swinney ever saw this, he's like, there goes another guy criticizing me. No, Coach Swinney, I actually do believe that if you just pull some things together, you'll win 4 or 5 more national championships, and I believe that. So that's on the other side.
Yeah, before he could beat Saban's record, he's still got time. If he wins one every 3 years, I could be happy with winning every 3 years. A playoff appearance 2 out of 3 years. A 10-win season on that one off-flyer, right? It wouldn't bother me as much. I think what upsets the fans and what they're frustrated at is that they see the embarrassment of riches when it comes to talent. It's a crappy play calling.
Yeah, and the development.
Players in a position to be successful on the field, that's your fault.
Yeah, we know it is. I say this all the time: expectation is a compliment. And so for me, I look at Coach Swinney and I go, this is a guy that if he'll just tweak some things, get some right position coaches in there, and then just let the offense become a machine, whoever's going to lead it, if it's Riley, if it's someone else, this man could win multiple national championships from this point on. And you're just sitting there just like frustrated going, but will he? But well, man, I'm going to have to roll. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Glad you hopped on here with me. Travis, you take care of yourself. I'm going to tell everybody bye. Catch you. It's good to see you, man. Appreciate your words.
Let me bump my gums for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah. He did a fantastic job. Folks, thank you all for hopping on here. I've had people want me to do a call-in show for a while, and I'm going to tell you, it gets kind of nervous because you never know who's going to come on here. I had somebody come on one of my call-ins, and it got really foul really quick, and they were not even mad at me. It was just I had to edit it out, and it ruined everything, and so I'm very, very careful. But a lot of good thoughts, a lot of good comments. But here's a closing thought for this. I feel like I'm Jerry Springer, the closing thought. Not that I was watching Jerry. Anyway, you are not the mother. You are not the father. That's Maury. Anyway, if you listen to a lot of people who came on here, they want the old Dabo Swinney back. That's it. And a lot of the respect that people has for Dabo right now comes from that Dabo back there. And that just occurred to me. Frustration. The frustration is that. I think I'm onto something there. I know that's my frustration. It's like Dabo Swinney, the one that did hold the trophy twice in a 3-year period, was one onside kick away, which I know that was earlier in the second half, or it was the beginning of the second half. That Alabama game, Clemson lost to them 45-40. Could have been 3 in 4 years. But we saw the demeanor of that Swinney, who was willing to do anything to get Clemson to win the national championship. And now a lot of us feel like, yes, that man is still a competitor, but we don't see that thing anymore. We don't. We see a man who could win more national championships, who sometimes we whisper to ourselves, or we think to ourselves, whisper to ourselves. That's weird sounding. We think to ourselves, maybe he's just riding this thing out. He knows the ACC is not that tough. He knows that he's going to have better talent than most. He knows that he will keep winning 10 wins here and there, and he's just fine. Are we afraid that's the fact, when on the other side we know that all he has to do one day is wake up and be that guy that drove Clemson, propelled them, pushed them, shoved them to winning 2 national championships in a 3-year period. If that guy shows back up completely and fully, the way he was structuring his staff, the way he did all of that, if that comes back, I said it in the preseason, and I still mean it. You're going to have to build another area to put the national championships Clemson will win. But if that doesn't come back, we're going to be a few plays away from winning the ball game. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a lot of fun.